The topic that I want to touch on tonight is my voice. Man, for real. Okay, bear with me now. Bear with me. I want to talk about my voice, man, because I've had a couple of people make comments about my voice and how I sound. And I just wanted to spend a minute to give a little bit of the backstory as to why I sound like how I sound, you know? I mean, because I honestly did not always sound like this. Like my voice, the way my voice is now, the way my voice sounds right now, is not always how my voice sounded, believe it or not. And yeah, I know that's true for everybody because everybody has a different voice when they're a kid and growing up. But I'm talking about as an adult. Was I an adult? Yeah, I guess I was. I was 19 years old when I had an accident. But you know, I'm talking about when I was an adult. My voice changed as a result of, well, like I said, like as a result of this accident that I had. And I mean, without going into all of the details, I mean, just roughly, basically what happened was I fell down this waterfall. Believe it or not, I actually fell down a waterfall. Now, it wasn't like a Niagara Falls or, you know, something crazy, but it was a waterfall nonetheless, man. And it was probably, I mean, it must have been about, I'd say between maybe 10 and 15 feet high, you know, so not this huge waterfall, but when you go over a waterfall head first, man, you can go over a 5-foot waterfall and you're gonna get jacked up, man. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, to make a long story short, basically I was hiking in the woods with my dog and my mom actually, and you know, I was 19 years old. And we were hiking in the mountains and we were following this little stream upstream. And we actually saw this waterfall. We climbed around the waterfall and got up, you know, up above it and kept on hiking. And we weren't that far from the waterfall. And my dog that was with us, she was thirsty, and she went over to the little stream and was drinking water. Was drinking water from the, you know, from the stream. And she had her front paws in the stream. So she had her front paws in the stream, and she slipped. She started to slip and fell into the stream, actually. Fell into the stream and started going down the stream. Now, this is a small dog, you know, so it's not a big dog, not a medium-sized dog, a small dog. So this little stream is carrying her downstream, and downstream, as I mentioned earlier, was this waterfall. So, man, what did I do? I jumped into the stream. It was not that deep, you know. I jumped into the stream, picked up my dog, and then slipped on the slippery algae-covered rocks or whatever it is that grows down there. Slipped and fell into the water myself, and I start going downstream. The water is pushing me and my dog downstream. I've got my dog in my arm, and we start going down towards this waterfall. I cannot control which direction my body is turning, so there was one point where I was facing backwards, there was one point where I was facing forward, and what do you know, as soon as we got to the edge of the waterfall, about to fall over the edge, I go over head first. Oh, man, and dude, I let go of my dog in the air, and luckily my dog was fine. My dog actually landed in some bushes and was totally fine, happy as can be, no problems. Should have just let the dog go down by herself. She would have been fine. But me fell down head first, and as you can imagine, I mean, if you've ever seen the bottom of a waterfall, you know, at the very bottom of a waterfall are rocks and branches and logs and things like that. And there was all of these logs. Man, I'm really lucky that I didn't get impaled by something, because there were like crazy branches sticking up, and you know, I mean, I really am lucky that I didn't get more seriously hurt. But basically what happened was my first instinct was to look where I was falling, you know, so my head is up, which exposed my throat to anything that would hit it. And it just so happened that I landed on a log, and the log, bam, went right into my throat. Oh man, I got up out of the water. Luckily I was okay. I actually sprained a thumb too, which was real minor, but I got up out of the water, man, and I couldn't speak. I could not talk at all. And I was coughing, and I was like, I had a hard time breathing. I was coughing. I was like, oh my God. And when I was coughing, I don't know why, I instinctually just put my hand, in front of my mouth to, when you cough, you don't, to be polite, you don't not just coughing, with your hand out without anything covering your mouth. And sort of instinctually, I did that. I was covering my mouth with my hand. I was looking at my hand, and there was blood. There was blood in my hand. And I was like, oh man. And I noticed blood. I noticed that I was coughing up blood. And I was like, oh man, this cannot be good. And my mom is running down on the side of the waterfall. She's freaking out. All from her perspective, she just sees her son and her dog go over the edge, And oh man, she comes around and is trying to help me out, and I can't talk to her, and I'm just barely kind of talking in almost a whisper, and I start coughing into my hand some more, and I felt like I needed to cough something, like there was something caught in my throat. So I coughed, like to get out phlegm or whatever. And what did I spit out into my hand? Was a chunk of meat, like a chunk of flesh. It was pink fleshiness, It was like, oh man. And at that point, I really did start kind of, I'm not totally freaking out, but when you see a piece of you in your hand that came from inside of you, you're like, that's not right, like this cannot be good, man. And oh man. So anyway, we drove back down the side of the mountain. I went to this little mountain clinic. They checked me out, and they're like, yeah, dude, you need to go to the hospital. And so they sent me over to the hospital, and I went to the emergency room. Anyway, they put a camera up my nose, down my throat. That's the way you look at someone's throat. You have to put a camera up their nose. So the camera went up my nose and back down the backside of my throat. And they looked at my vocal cords and like, yeah, you injured your vocal cords. You basically tore them. And so I couldn't speak. And so anyway, to make a long story short, I could not speak for months, literally months, man. When my voice finally did come back, it was changed, and I sounded like how I sound now. My voice was deeper. It had more bass to it, and I was not happy. To be quite honest with you, I was not happy, man. So my voice was forever changed, man. And I didn't like it at first. I really didn't. I was upset about it, because your voice, that's your voice. And then all of a sudden it changes. But over the course of time, man, you just get to the point where you just accept it for what it is. And I've had a lot of people say that they actually kind of like my voice, which is weird, but I don't know, man. I'm comfortable with it though. I'm comfortable with my voice now. And I don't know. I almost can't remember what it's like to have that other voice, we don't have too many like homework videos or things like that, but the videos or the recordings that I have of my voice prior to the accident, man, I just sound very different, So anyway, just thought I would share kind of an interesting story about SoopaBee's voice. So anyway, with that, my friends, my people, continue to ride with confidence, head up 100%. Yeah, this is SoopaBee.